The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
When life shapes us, when love anchors us, when loss changes us, we are not left behind. We are carried forward, held by faith, rooted in purpose, finding our way. This is Carried Forward, a space for stories of resilience, purpose, and forward resolve. Hey there, I'm Shana Nissen, and welcome to Carried Forward. I'm an Air Force veteran, I'm a military widow, a mom, and a woman still learning what it means to move forward when life doesn't look the way that I thought it would. I created this space because I have learned a thing or two about change and moving forward. And one key thing is that change comes whether we're ready or not. Sometimes it comes through service. Sometimes it comes through love. Sometimes it comes through loss. And sometimes a quiet shift that no one else sees except for you. But the one thing that's true for all of us is that we are shaped by what we walk through. And the question isn't whether life changes us, it's whether we believe we've been left behind or we choose to move forward with what has shaped us. This podcast, I hope for it to be a space that is just allowing you to have steady ground, a place that you hear of other people's stories, of changing and what they've done to overcome or move forward. It's not going to be just about military life. It's not just going to be about widowhood. And it's not just going to be about grief. I hope for it to be about resilience, identity, faith, perseverance, and that quiet strength that it takes to keep becoming who you are even after life rearranges everything. Over the next episodes, I hope to show you guys and give you a place to hear conversations with people from all walks of life. Some are going to be my friends, some are going to be my family, some are veterans, some are civilians. But they're all going to be people who have faced unexpected turns and decided not to stay stuck there. Because being carried forward doesn't mean pretending nothing's happened or everything's okay. It means honoring what shaped you and still choosing to move forward. And if you're listening today, carrying something heavy, a loss, a transition, a fear, a question about who you are or who you need to be, my hope is that this becomes a steady place for you, a place where what shapes you isn't dismissed, but is carried forward, and that we're here to help you carry forward through our own stories, through my story, through the people that are going to be on the podcast. You're not being left behind, and you're not behind. You're just adjusting to who you are becoming. So I just want to welcome you to Carried Forward, and I hope it's a place, like I said, that can provide you some steady ground, or at least some stories, some experiences that you can relate to, where you don't feel alone in your journey. So let's get started. So just a little bit about me. Like I said, I was an Air Force veteran. I did lose my husband, who was also an Army and Air Force veteran. His name was Andy Nissen. We had a beautiful daughter, or have I, and her name is Athena. And she's just been a blessing in my life. And I think without her, there's days that I probably would not have continued after losing Andy. She was definitely the reason I continued to get up in the morning every day and face the world without him. So this podcast is not going to be scripted. I will have like that first little bit, just so I can stay focused and let you know what the podcast is about. But I hope to be authentic, because that's, if you know me in real life and in person, I'm pretty authentic and pretty straightforward. So that's what I'm going to try to make this. I think it's important to have a platform that you can be honest and straightforward and just tell people the challenges that you've had. And sometimes I got it right and sometimes I didn't. I've had a lot of adventures in my life from a very young age. And we'll go back to the beginning, to when I met Andy and we got married. We were 17 and 19. I was 17 and he was 19. I met him when I was in high school, out on the town, in the small town that I lived in, Louisiana, and didn't realize that he was really interested in me until his cousin let me know, because I went to school with his high school with his cousin, but let me know that he was interested in me. We went out on our first date. We got along so well. We could just have good conversations. And I noticed in him that he just got life. Like, he was smart and he was unbothered and he thought through things quickly. And to be honest, I was looking for someone like that. I was like, oh my goodness, like, this guy at 19 knows what he's doing. And I'm interested in having him in my life. And it didn't hurt that he was attractive too, very handsome. So we started dating, and we dated for 9 months, and then he got orders to be stationed in Germany, and we knew we really had something special. Or at that time, as teenagers, I think we felt like we had something special and that we really loved one another, and that we could be a good team. Like, we understood that even at that young age, that you needed someone in your life that you loved, and also that had your back, that would go that extra mile for you and would step back and let you shine, and then you would step back and let them shine. And we did that so well from the get-go. It was, now looking back at our relationship, 10 years from his death, and we were married for 21 years. And thinking about those 21 years, and now knowing what I know, 10 years past losing him, just realizing how special that relationship that we had, and how often unique. It shouldn't be, but often unique. But we didn't make it to Germany, even though he had orders. We did get married on Christmas Eve of 1994. it's just a small wedding in my grandma's backyard, because that's one of my favorite places. When I'm meditating and going to my safe place, that's the place I go. It's in Pitkin, Louisiana, the backyard up to Kisatchie Forest, beautiful, peaceful. I used to go and do grounding on the trees, and I didn't even know what I was doing, but that is just the place that we got married, and it's a place that I remember just being that I can go to even now in my mind to bring peace and comfort to myself. But we got married when I was 17 and he was 19. And we were on our way to go to Germany, and or we had plans to, but I got in a really bad car wreck. Actually, February 15th, 1995. So it's been quite a bit. And it was a severe car wreck where it was a head-on collision. And I was put in the hospital where I had to have a life-saving surgery because my trach had been damaged. One really amazing thing that I see now that I probably didn't see then is that God's hand was in all of that, because if I would not have been married to Andy at that young age, I would have not been taken to Fort Polk, Louisiana, the hospital there. And I would not have had that life-saving surgery because the doctor that performed my surgery that day, so many years ago, actually was TDY giving a class on that specific surgery that he performed on me. And so his students got to see it in live action. But I got the benefit of having my life saved by him. And just, I would not have made it out of that wreck because the original hospital was a small town hospital that was not prepared for such injuries. And when I got there, they could not have saved me. But like I said, the Lord's hand being in it, I had just gotten married a few months before to someone in the Army, Andy, and was able to be taken by ambulance to Fort Polk and have that surgery done. And I am grateful, forever grateful for that. There have been moments in my life when I was a full-time caregiver to Andy while he had his disease, and we'll go into that in a few minutes, that I questioned God, like, why in the world did you save me? But the only thing that I truly hung on to was like, you saved me to have Athena. You know, that was he saved me for so much more than that. I mean, Athena is wonderful, and I do believe he saved me to be her mother and bring her into this world and steward her as best as I can. But and that's what I clinged on to. But I have since learned that he has saved me for so much more than that. So I'm sure people can relate. I'm sure you can relate. There's just times that things happen to you, and there's this one person or one thing that you grab onto, cling onto to keep you grounded in this world when all does not make sense. And when I lost Andy, all did not make sense. So, and I smile because you have to smile not to cry about that. But let's go a little bit deeper into Andy's disease. So we were married for, like I said, 21 years. We both, he was in the military. He was in the Army when we originally got married. And then he commissioned into the Air Force. And not long after he commissioned into the Air Force, I decided, after I had been working for the government for, I don't know how long. I had been working for the US government since I was 18. And I think I decided to commission when I was in my like 20s. I would say 22 or something, 23. I'd have to do the math for sure. But we did make it, and I'm kind of all over the place, but hope you're following along. We did make it to Europe, not to Germany, but to the Netherlands, just a little while after we had been married, and they stabilized me from that wreck, and I was no longer requiring or in any danger, which was a few years later, in 1996, because we went over to the Netherlands instead of Germany, and such a beautiful place with such wonderful people. And it gave me the bug, bit me with with the travel bug, and going and exploring Europe and all the different countries, which in other episodes I will talk a little bit more about my travels. But this episode, I'm talking about just my story and how I got to where I am today, and the challenges that I've faced through grief. That is what our focus is today. So we went to Europe, we came back, and both of us, I was not in the military when we came back from Europe. I was a civil servant, a GS at the time. But then Andy decided to commission from the Army into the Air Force, which is a unique thing. I think more people might do it today, but when he did that, it wasn't super well known, but it suited him well, suited our lives well. He enjoyed being enlisted in the Army, and he enjoyed being an officer in the Air Force. When he transitioned, and we had moved back to the States, I decided, after he had commissioned and we moved to Omaha, Nebraska, that I would commission into the Air Force too. And I think it was 2002, 2001, 2002, that I decided to get my commissioning too. So I went through a 1-year program that was offered back then through ROTC at the Eastern Michigan University. And I got my commission as a United States Air Force officer. And I was stationed there in Omaha, Nebraska. So we were both officers in the Air Force in 2002. Can't believe time has flown by so much. And at that time we had no children, so we were living the life. We were we went and did what we wanted to do and traveled a little bit and worked a lot, and just continued to build our relationship. We enjoyed each other so much. We had friends, but we were each other's friends, so much so. We just really enjoyed spending time with one another, doing things with one another, just having fun together, living life with one another. And it was so special. So special. And then we decided to move, or we got stationed in San Antonio. And in 2005, we had our daughter, Athena, who is now 20 and just such a beautiful person inside and out. And that was something that neither one of us had really initially wanted as children. But then we got to a point that we felt like we had accomplished a lot. And we, the two of us together, had a lot to offer another human in this world. So we decided to have Athena. And she was born in April of 2005. Just such a beautiful, sweet addition to our lives. And we continued to live in San Antonio for a while, but then we got stationed back in Michigan at Eastern Michigan University, and was close to Andy's mom and dad in Michigan. And Athena was about 2 or 3 years old, and we enjoyed ourselves there. I got a job. I had gotten out of the Air Force not long after that when we moved to Michigan, and I got a contractor job there at University of Michigan while Andy worked at University of Michigan and the Air Force ROTC department. And he enjoyed that so much. He had also in the past worked at Army ROTC, where he had enjoyed that a lot. And that's why he knew that he would enjoy doing ROTC at University of Michigan. He was enlisted when he worked at Eastern Michigan University and got his degree. And then that's when he transferred over to being an Air Force officer after going to OTS. And so our life continued, and people would laugh because they were just at awe at just, I don't know, how fortunate we were. And we truly were blessed. We wouldn't have probably called it blessed at that time. We would have called it strategic planning, but we truly were blessed. And our beautiful daughter was now in our life. I will say that after getting out of the military, because I was, they were downsizing in my career field and I was rifted out. And I thought I was good with that because I even was like kind of volunteered, like I'd be one of them. But it really did hit me hard. And I was surprised at how hard that hit me. And then I had just had Athena. So becoming a mom was a huge responsibility, even though she was a wonderfully well-behaved child and easygoing, much like her father. It still was a lot for me, and I had lost my identity in that, which was probably some foreshadowing that I needed to pay attention to, but I didn't. So in Michigan, I was really depressed. I was extremely depressed. But the beautiful thing about Andy and I's relationship, and I often think back to this, is he got up with me before he went to work because he could tell I was depressed and just not myself. And before I had to get up with Athena, or before Athena got up, he would sit with me and just talk to me and talk through things. And I often think back to that time and I'm just so amazed and appreciative of what he did for me, because I was not myself, and I was not who he was used to being part of on the team, because we are very much a team. But he did not push away from me. He did not blame me. He just sat in the mornings, took some time and talked with me. And that is so important, more than people truly, truly understand, I think. You got to know how your person processes, and he knew that I processed through talking. And maybe he didn't know like like, Shauna, you process through talking. Let's sit down and talk. He just innately knew how to love me so well. And that's something that I miss about him so, so much. So I encourage you, if you are in a relationship, that you learn your person's way that they receive love, and they, have the big words like love language and all that, and you don't have to put a label on it. Just learn your person, learn how they communicate best, how they interact best. And when they're having a hard time, like, meet them where they're at, meet them where they need to be. And he was always so, so good at that. Andy loved me so well. And it was just beautiful. And that, like I said, that's something that I miss about our relationship and him so much. I felt seen and heard and loved. But so that's a little bit like, I'm not going to go through everything, every little detail, but that was our time in Michigan. And Athena was about 3 years old. Andy had decided to get out of the Air Force, and they were again downsizing, and he took a buyout. So he decided to get out of the Air Force. And I was telling him, because I was down and trying to figure that out. I said, I really do not want to stay in Michigan. It's too cold for me. And so he encouraged me. He said, well, Shauna, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? You've been following me in my career mainly, even with your career. Like, we've been doing what's best for mine all these years. So what do you want to do? And I said, I want to go back to Texas. It's warm and we know that place. And by that time we owned a home there. And so he was supportive and encouraged me to find a job. He said, find a job and we'll move back there. And so I did. And I got a contractor job back in San Antonio, and that moved us back to Texas. And that was a few years before his illness started showing major signs that I realized. I think I looked back then and there were still a few signs that showed up in his illness. And I'll go ahead and say Andy got frontal temporal degeneration or dementia. It's a form of dementia. A lot of people know Bruce Willis has this disease. And this is what Andy was diagnosed with and then ultimately passed away from. And when we moved back to San Antonio, I was the lead, and I went back ahead of Andy and Athena, and I got the job, got things set up for us. And then Athena and Andy came like a few months later. Actually, it was just a month later. And we were able to touch base with friends that helped us in San Antonio. We always felt like we had friends and family. We didn't have family, but friends that were like family there in San Antonio. So we moved back there. I started working as a contractor for the government, and things were going smoothly. That's where I started. I came back, I wasn't depressed as much. I started training for marathons with a really good friend. After I ran my marathon, I started doing figure competitions just to do it. I just wanted to know that I could do it. And the more I got involved in like physical fitness, that my mind got better and clearer, because it's just my body thrives on staying in exercise mode at least once a day. It helps me with my mental, as a discussion yesterday I had with some people, the mind tornado of destruction. It helps me with that. The being active and fit. So we came back to San Antonio and things were going good. Andy was out of the military at that time, and we were moving forward. I was as a government contractor, and I was going to be the primary, I guess, income into the home. Andy was always really good with finances. And at that time is when we started developing, or he came up with a plan that we would retire at age 38, each of us. He was 2 years older than me. And so he got a contractor job to put money aside to be able to, along with my job, and we were putting money aside to be able to make that a fruition. And Andy always had these brilliant financial ideas. And I guess I played my part because I was always like, I'm not sure if that's going to work. Because my background with money and finances in my family was not the same as his. And he knew how to make money work for him. And I just knew how to have money and pay my bills with it, right? But the good thing that I was a team member, and if he had a good idea and I was like, let's talk about it, then I was on board and I was 100% supporting him. And so together we were gonna retire at age 38 and then start traveling with Athena and just not have to work except doing things that we, felt passionate about. And I'm going to get emotional because that plan did come to fruition, but Andy did not get to see it. He set that plan in place and it was executed. But he didn't get to see it, be part of it, really, because he started getting a little while after he started being a stay-at-home dad, because we had set enough money aside to pay off some major bills like our mortgage and things like that. And so he was going to stop working and be a stay-at-home dad for Athena while I worked for another 2 years, putting more money aside so that we could do that retirement plan. And within that 2 years, Andy started acting very strange, not being himself, not being that person that was the leader of our family and was so sound in judgment and just doing things that he said he would. Strange behavior started happening, so much so that I wasn't sure that he was the person that I married, and ultimately it was his brain betraying him. But I went through a period of time that I didn't know what to do. And I thought, if this is the person you're becoming, then I don't want to be in your life anymore. And I hate to say that, but that's the truth. But I knew something wasn't right. I knew something was off. So I asked, I started going to counseling. And then my counselor said to me one day, Shana, what can you deal with? Can you deal with that he has something medically wrong with him causing this, or that he's just became an asshole and someone that you can't depend on anymore? And I said, well, I want to believe that it's something medically wrong with him. And at that time, when I said that, I thought it would be something medically wrong with him that was curable, right? That, wasn't a terminal illness that was going to take him away from our lives, that it was just going to take him to the doctor, he'd be fixed, and then we'd go on about our lives, living it the way that we had planned. But that was not the case. But her saying that to me did make me pause and go and get in the game and stop trying to escape what was ever going on with him. It made me step in, lean in, and go with Andy. Let's go get some doctor's visits. Let's go see what's going on. But Andy would always say, I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine. And I said, like, you're not perfectly fine, Andy, because I'm not perfectly fine. And I decided to start taking him to any doctor and every doctor that would listen to me, because he was just getting worse with his behaviors and his hygiene, things like that. And his interactions with Athena were becoming very childlike. So yeah, it was just some big telltale signs that I knew something was wrong. But with that counselor telling me that, that shifted me into the mindset of figure out what's going on with him rather than I'm done with you, right? Which I'm so glad she said that, because I just didn't know what was going on. And it's not like I would have been done with him. I loved him so, so much. But that switched my mind to go, be here for him. What is going on with him? And that began about a 1.5 year road of trying to figure out what was going on with Andy. But I had to step away for a moment. But like, our story is just one of love, teamwork, belief in one another, and trust in one another. And we shared an identity. And when I lost him, and I lost him before he even passed away in 2016, I lost him to the disease. He was, his childlike self was still in there, but the Andy that I had married was no longer available. And that was such a challenge for me. And I will say it's been 10 years since he passed away, and I've done a lot of work. And I'm grateful through the communities that I've been able to, and people that I've been able to connect with, that's helped me work through and carry forward. Because losing Andy was a huge, huge tragedy in my life. There's before Andy and after Andy. There's a definite line of demarcation there. And although I am proud of the person that sits before you today, getting here, those stories and those times, I'm not always proud of those moments. But I am proud of the love and story that Andy and I held, and it's made me and continued to be in me, and is part of what shaped me to this person that I'm proud of today. And I think the huge difference is that the person that sits in front of you today and is able to talk and share my story and be proud of who I am is no longer in survival mode, and is truly carrying forward. And a key part of that is my faith that has fluctuated. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be someone that hasn't stumbled, because there's a time in my life that I did not lean on the Lord, that I did not trust the Lord. I was angry, and he handled that. He continued to stand there in that gap, waiting for me to be who I am today, and waiting for me to trust that he does have a plan for my life, and that what I have lived through will make a difference. And it's not just my tragedy, not just my story. It's something that I've grown from and can share with all of you. And I would not be able to have that perspective without trusting in the Lord and without going back to my faith and feeling his love and feeling seen from him, from the Lord. And that is what I'm going to intertwine in my story, because my story is not one of perfection. It is not one of, like, I've always been faithful and knew that the Lord had my back. Definitely, that is not my story. I've been angry. I've been frustrated. But I will say that the Lord has been there even when I was not. Like, I have fell on the floor crying when I was being Andy's caregiver, not knowing what I was going to do next, because I had a child that was genuinely a child. She was 6 years old when Andy started getting sick, and she was 10 going on 11 when he passed away. But I had her actually growing to become who she is today at 20. And then I had him, who was my husband, my teammate, my everything. And he was going in the opposite direction of her. And in that, I did not see God's hand, but I did have no other option and just fell on the floor and said, Lord, I don't know what else to do. I'm at my wit's end. And he showed up for me. And I'm not saying that from that time on that I was like, Lord, you got me. Definitely not. Within the past 2 years, my faith has grown so much. And that's because I truly do trust the Lord now. And I've given him just my life and my future. And I'm no longer like trying to get him to co-sign off what I have planned. I'm here for it. And I hope that you're here for it too, to see me grow. And I hope I can show that in this podcast. But the point being that I'm no longer in survival mode. I am moving forward. And that's because the Lord has been carrying me, even when I was not open to hearing him, seeing him, and I was just mad. So I hope I can show you through my struggles, through my challenges, how the Lord is there and showing you and waiting for you to see him. And the reason I'm going to share the stories that maybe I'm not so proud of is because I want you to understand that it's okay. Like, you can be in denial. You can be angry. You can try, like me, to do, like, check all the boxes and do all the things because that's what you're supposed to do. But that is not moving forward. That is, for me, that was just oscillating in the same place and feeling like I was moving forward, but then I'd be pulled back. But now I truly feel like I am being carried forward with the Lord holding my hand, and with the community that I've built around myself, the community that shows me love, even when I'm not lovable. And that includes, and I don't have any sponsors, so I'm going to tell you about a few people that have made a difference in my life. It is like my sisters. They show up for me all the time. It's friends that I've met here in New Braunfels, like my 5 a.m. running club. They're there waiting, even when I'm not ready. I know they're going to be there. Groups, nonprofit groups like AFTD, which is the Association for Frontal Temporal Degeneration. They were there like a beacon in the night when I had no idea what FTD was. It is groups like Beauty from Ashes that is local to New Braunfels, and they have been just a place to find friends and people that understand other widows, that understand and are seeking the Lord and also seeking fun and social activities. Camp Agape, which is just a wonderful community for children that have lost families. They provide a camp, but then they also just provide a community of other parents dealing with loss. But Camp Agape allows the children to go and have fun at a camp during the summer for 4 days. Trying to think of some of the other wonderful organizations that's helped me. TAPS, Tragedy Assistance Program, which is for the military. Tunnel to Towers have been amazing. If you don't know about them, they're based in New York City, and they help people financially. It's truly, truly amazing. But not only financially, they help with therapy, counseling, scholarships for children, getting people together, again, building community of people that have dealt with similar tragedies, for first responders and now military members. That's Tunnel to Towers. Who else has been like in my life? I've just been so blessed to find and be part of different organizations that truly help widows and their children. And then organizations that help with specific diseases. AFTD was just huge and helping me learn in regards to what needs to happen in the future for that disease, and to feel like you're making a difference and educating people on what the disease is. Right now, I'm part of a beautiful organization called Songs in the Night, which is for widows. And they provide a community online to be able to get together and connect and talk about what's going on in your life, because they're going to have similarities that other people aren't going to understand. They provide a retreat. It's just... it's beautiful when people do come together, but I did want to mention a few organizations that have made a difference in my life as I have grieved, and I'm still growing and grieving. Just, I hope that you guys come back. As you can see, this program is not scripted. It's just me talking and sharing, and I'm going to have guests from all walks of life that have overcome and are trying to move forward. It's not like it's a one time check the box. I wish it was that you were like, I'm moving forward now and everything's great. No, every day you wake up and you choose to do better, be better. And I think that is choosing to feel loved, to share love, and to love others. And I hope that is what is heard here, is that I truly do love helping others. I love like sharing my story if it's going to help someone else feel seen, feel less alone. And I hope that the guests that I bring on here, that their stories are gonna inspire you like they've inspired me. And just, I hope above anything else that you find some steady ground here, and that you feel a little less alone. Because I know that there's been many times in my journey that I felt like nobody understands this. And no, people may not understand exactly what you're going through, but they can empathize and at least hold space for you. And I hope that is what happens here. So thank you for joining me. It's just been such a blessing to talk to you. And I hope Carry Forward gets better and better as we go forward. And I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you for joining me. I'm Shana Nissen, and this is Carried Forward.
Thanks for watching and listening to Military Broadcast Radio on Roku TV. If you missed today's episode, the podcast will be available on
and all major platforms shortly after we go off the air. We're here for you, not for us, giving veterans a voice. This is